one day I saw some pictures of people who, according to the co-religion, had these pictures printed in very beautiful and attractive colors. In them, I saw a person being protected by an angel. The picture showed the person walking, standing, sitting, or working while, with an angel behind them, protecting them. And that image was very awe-appealing. When we walk, stand, or work, there might be dangers or accidents waiting for us. If at that moment we had an invisible angel always watching over us to protect us, that would be precious, something everyone desires. Everyone having an angel following them to protect and support them. I remember those pictures were beautifully printed in color. The angels had wings, and wherever you went, the angel would follow and protect you. For example, if you were walking backwards and about to fall into a deep pit, the angel would reach out and you would suddenly stop, not step back any further, and not fall into the pit. As a child, seeing that was very appealing. I wished I had an angel like that following me, supporting me 24 hours a day. In the beliefs, in popular beliefs in Vietnam, there are similar ideas that each of us has an angel supporting us. We have deities like Chua Thuong Ngan worshipping Chua, Hang Mao Di, who is from under the water. Figures like Chua Layu, Han, and those figures are all deities who closely follow us to protect us. Besides them, there are also many other figures who are their attendants, and if we believe in Chua Liu Han, in Mao Di, or in what Vietnam calls Mao Hai, then those deities will send an angel to follow us and support us in our lives. These small, very sacred prayers follow us. Inaudible, the Dong Bong Bong belief in Vietnam is very common and appealing. And in that belief, people believe that each of us, if we are sincere believers, will always have a spiritual figure following and supporting us. In Buddhism, we also learn a method called protection. Because we all tend to worry about our safety. We don't know when accidents might happen to us. So we really need a force not to support and protect us. When we practice, we know very well that mindfulness is the angel that helps us. In French, it's a protector, a protector. Each of us needs an angel to protect us. And in our practice, how do we ensure that this protective angel is always present while walking, while standing, while talking, while laughing, while working, so that we don't fall into accidents? But this practice is very scientific, meaning when we have mindfulness, we walk and we know we're walking. We stand and we know we're standing. We're talking and we know we're talking. When we sit, we know we're sitting, then the guardian angel is always present. If we know this, we know when that angel is present. And when that angel is not present, we also know. And we can only fall into accidents when that angel is not present. That angel is within us, and if we want That angel will protect us day and night. It's a constant bodyguard, not a bodyguard that acts. It means keeping our soul secure, not just our body, but keeping security for our soul. We know that among those who became monks at the same time as Ananda, there was one monk named Banjia. He was a young, powerful palace guard from the royal Dung lineage. And when he was a palace guard, he always had an army following him, because when you're important, you have enemies. And so you have to have bodyguards. You have to have bodyguards following you to support you. Eating requires guards. Sleeping requires guards, because your life could be destroyed if you let the enemy come. When Banjia became a monk, he was very relaxed, and he didn't need a soldier to follow him, to serve him, to protect him. And so one night, sitting in meditation late at night, he felt so happy. He wasn't afraid of anything anymore. Instead of having a group of soldiers serving him, he only had mindfulness protecting him. Therefore, during that meditation that night, he felt so happy, not afraid of anything, nothing to fear losing. No one wanted to come and take his life now. He felt that peace and happiness made him exclaim, "Oh, my happiness! Oh, my happiness! Twice!" A monk sitting next to him didn't understand and mistakenly thought that this monk probably missed his arrogant days as a palace guard. So he was complaining to the Buddha. The Buddha knew that this monk's suspicion wasn't right. So he wanted to call Banjia over to ask him directly to clear up this monk's suspicion. The Buddha asked Banjia, "Last night during meditation, did you exclaim twice, 'Oh, my happiness! Oh, my happiness!'" And Banjia said, "Yes, blessed one. Last night I did exclaim that." "And why did you exclaim those words?" Banjia explained, "In the past, when I was a palace guard, I was always hiding and sneaking around. Every day there were soldiers protecting me, but I couldn't eat or sleep well. But now that I'm a monk, I don't trust any soldiers to protect me, but I'm very happy. And so I was so happy I couldn't contain myself. So I exclaimed those words, 'Oh, my happiness! Oh, my happiness!' And if I disturbed some of my fellow monks in the night, I apologize." After he said that, the other monk's misunderstanding vanished. So it is with us. We can be protected and guarded by our mindfulness, and we have a supreme bodyguard, and no one, no professional soldier can compare, and that is our mindfulness. When we walk, we know we are walking. It's that simple. Taking each step firmly and peacefully, knowing that we are. And when you drink water, you know that you are drinking water. When sitting here, you know that you are sitting. It's a very simple practice, but it's not something you can just do because you want to. You have to practice. That's why we often organize retreats of 5 or 7 days, 1 day, or 3 months, just to practice that. That's it. For example, walking during a retreat. Every step is taken in that way. Every step is guarded by mindfulness, not letting a single step escape the watchful eye of mindfulness. Practicing like that for a few weeks, you naturally develop a habit, a new tendency. And so, at any moment, in any step, you have a guardian angel following you. This is very scientific, very real. When you have that angel with you, you know it. Even if you're very distracted, you're aware. So, connect with the seed of mindfulness. Invite mindfulness to be with you 24 hours a day. That is our practice. However, in daily life, we can lose that ability. We haven't practiced enough. We have a tendency, a habit to want to run. And when we run like that, we lose the moments of daily life. We may be a very important person. Many people want to meet us. We have many important issues to resolve, and during the day, we are always busy and dragged along by those tasks, those jobs. And although we are important people, we don't really live our own lives. We are controlled by our work. A Zen master once said, "You are controlled by the 24 hours of the day, while I control the 24 hours of the day." That saying isn't difficult to understand. Everyone has 24 hours to live. But some people are controlled by those 24 hours, while others control those 24 hours. Right? We can control them because we have mastery. We have mastery because we have mindfulness. And the Plum Village practice is about how to have mastery in the 24 hours of our daily lives. And to do that, we must practice, we must train. And our brothers and sisters living with us here are also doing that, also practicing. You don't need 1,000 scriptures to practice. Just walking, just sitting down, just smiling, just breathing. And you can invite that guardian, that protector, to come to you, sit with you, walk with you, eat with you, and live in peace. Because with that angel, with mindfulness, we live deeply in that moment, and we discover the depth of what is present, and our happiness increases tenfold, 100-fold. For example, when we eat muesli with milk. But if we don't have mindfulness, we don't really eat the muesli. We are eating our past, eating our future, eating our fears. While muesli is very soft, it's grains, it's grapes. But those things contain the essence of the universe, and they are streams of milk. And when mindfulness is present, and we are eating muesli together, we naturally connect with that muesli in a very profound way. We see that what we are eating here is the body of the universe, the sun, the clouds, the monsoon winds, the earth. The grapes in this, their sweetness, are incredibly miraculous. And if you can settle down and eat muesli in the early morning, around 5:30 or 6:30, then happiness is overflowing. You don't need to eat muesli and then start. What's important is the moment you're eating muesli. Once, during a retreat for children in California, I asked the American children, "Why do you eat breakfast, kids?" And one of them boldly said, "Why eat breakfast to get energy for the day?" To eat breakfast is to get energy for the day. Very, very firm, very confident in that answer. That's a very good answer from the external perspective. It's true, very scientific. Eating is for getting energy to last throughout the day. Now, they advertise breakfast foods the same way. If you want to live happily and fully during the day, you have to eat the breakfast food that we're selling. So, eating is just a means to an end. While we eat, the act of eating should be an end in itself, not just a means. Therefore, how we eat breakfast, whether it's plain rice porridge, mung bean porridge, or muesli, we must eat in a way that the food becomes miraculous. So we become miraculous, so happiness can arise. No one sitting in this Dharma circle doesn't know this, because you have all learned and heard. The question is whether you do it or not. Did you eat like that this morning? If you didn't eat like that, you should be a little embarrassed. Look at your brothers, your sisters, and smile. Tomorrow morning, when you eat misely, eat it more mindfully. That's what the Buddha is waiting for. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what all beings are waiting for. We can attain enlightenment by knowing how to eat our morning misely. And how do we eat? We eat with the angel who is protecting us. Eat with all 6 senses fully guarded. The Buddha said that we have drifted through countless lifetimes before, and we must awaken to stop drifting. Whether there were countless lifetimes before or not, we can debate. But the reality is we are drifting in the present moment. In this very moment, sitting and eating mesli, we are still drifting as usual. Drifting in thoughts, even while eating mesli, is a pity. So the angel that has wings and is always by our side to protect and shelter us, we can touch, we can see, we can feel. And if we want, that angel will appear and follow us in every moment of our lives. This is not philosophy, it's not a dream, it's not a theory. This is the truth, because that angel is the energy of mindfulness. And the energy of mindfulness is what we have when we drink, when we hold a glass. We can hold it with the energy of mindfulness. The angel is holding the glass with us. I hold a glass and I know I'm holding the glass. At that moment, I am settled. And that gesture is the gesture of a Buddha. I am a Buddha in that moment, because when I hold the glass, I know that I'm holding up this glass. I am completely present in my being. Becoming a Buddha isn't some mystical fantasy. It's not some distant, unattainable idea. Becoming a Buddha is something we can do in every moment of our daily lives. We are children of the lion, we are lion cubs, yet we always feel like we're afraid to say it. Afraid it will be said that we are monkey children. Because there's a story where it's said that there was a lioness. She was pregnant with a cub nearing her due date. She still had to give birth alone because the lion had abandoned her. The father lion left her. Then, one day, while chasing a deer, the deer stretched and jumped across a valley. In the middle was a valley, with one side being a mountain slope and the other a mountain range. The lioness miscalculated. She was determined to catch the deer. So, while jumping across the valley, the baby lion fell out and dropped down below. When the lioness realized this, she was very sad. Once she got to the other side, she knew she had lost her cub. Therefore, she didn't chase the prey anymore. What was the point of chasing prey when she had already lost her cub? Presumably, the lion cub that fell into the valley would be torn to shreds and nothing would be left. But miraculously, some monkeys were picking fruit and saw something falling from above. Something fell from above, so they reached out and caught it, saving the lion cub. They took it back and raised it as their own, and they fed the lion cub monkey milk. They taught the lion cub all the ways and customs of monkeys, like how to climb trees and how to call each other chick, chick, chick. Lions never say chick, 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 chick. But this lion cub learned it. It learned all the ways of a monkey and truly became one. It genuinely believed it was a monkey and was very, very proud to be one. A monkey until it grew up. Then one day its mother passed by and recognized her child. Overjoyed, she came and said, "My child, you're my child?" But the cub got angry. "I'm the child of whom? Don't say that. I'm a monkey, you're a lion. You have nothing to do with me. If you say I'm a lion, I'll be very angry." The lioness realized she had made a mistake, that her approach was wrong, so she retreated. She retreated and waited for all the older monkeys to leave. Then she came alone and said, "Hey monkey, you're a monkey and I'm a lion. So will you forgive me and can we play together as friends?" Speaking gently, the monkey, lion, and he agreed and accepted. They talked for a while. And then the lioness invited the lion cub to go out, always praising it as a very cute and beautiful monkey. A monkey so beautiful that no other monkey could be more beautiful. Then the two of them came to a stream. The lioness looked into the water. She saw her reflection and saw that her cub looked very much like her. Then she invited the lion cub to look into the water and said, "Hey, why do you look a little like me?" So the lion cub found it strange. Looking into the stream, it saw that it didn't look like a regular monkey, not like the other monkeys, but it looked a bit like this friend. So it tried. It put its paw out, and it saw a paw in the water also reaching out. It stuck its tongue out and saw a reflection in the water also sticking its tongue out. It began to suspect. It started to suspect something. At that moment, the lioness knew that a transformation was happening within the lion cub. So it waits, plays along, sticks its tongue out, and reaches out too. After a while of playing together, the other one completely doubts that it's not a monkey. At that moment, the lioness, the mother roars the roar of a lion. When the cub hears its lioness mother roar like that, it instinctively roars back once. This time, from its throat, it doesn't make a cheep, cheep sound, but a real lion's roar. It realizes that a lion's roar is coming from its throat, and when the lioness When the lioness mother sees that, she smiles, jumps over the stream, and goes into the forest, and the cub jumps after her. It goes into the forest after its mother, and the two of them are together. The master says, "You are lions. You are not monkeys, but for countless lifetimes you have thought you were monkeys. So you have the complex that you become an enlightened one. You can become a Buddha. This is very simple. When you pick up a glass and you are completely present and you raise the glass with complete clarity and awareness, then at that moment you are a lion cub. You are a lion cub. A lion cub is a lion. The student has become Buddha. The question is whether you want to be a Buddha or whether you still have the habit of being a monkey. When you act like a monkey, everything you do is monkey-like. So when you have positions as high as Supreme Patriarch or Director of the Institute or Abbot, the position of Abbot is also very high. Please, brothers, don't be swayed. If you are passionate about your work, if you love your work, if you are satisfied with the position of Supreme Patriarch, Abbot, or Director of your institute, and you live in forgetfulness, then you are still not a lion cub. You are not a child of the Buddha. You are wasting your life. Therefore, you must hear the lion's roar, and that roar is resonating in space. My child, think again. You are not a monkey. You are a lion cub. You are my child. My child, think again. You are not a monkey. You are a lion cub. You are my child. The world honored one is roaring the lion's roar. There is a sutra called the Lion's Roar Sutra. Lion's roar. And you must act like a lion. And when you are a lion, you are the master of all beings. You have power. You are not overwhelmed by suffering in your life. You no longer let the 5 desires come and tear apart and destroy your body and mind. You have a guardian angel, and you live in peace and happiness. Dear audience, we have studied for a week about the art of listening. In the consecutive Dharma talks last week, we learned about the practice of listening. And listening is a method of practice that is very important. When you know how to listen, you can bring into yourself so much happiness. You can transform so much suffering in your heart. We have learned this, and we have learned methods. And when you know how to listen, you can make the other person not suffer. Therefore, listening is a very great Dharma gate. How to listen, to have happiness, to have transformation, and to dismantle all the boundaries between yourself and others, to see the one in the all in the one, to see that there is no more separation or discrimination, then that listening transcends the boundaries of the listener and the object being listened to. That listening becomes interpenetration, perfect listening. Just the act of listening alone, it can lead you to the attainment of enlightenment. Therefore, the nuns and monks should write a thesis on the practice of listening in Buddhism. Write it clearly, write it carefully, and write it based on your own experiences. We've learned about deep listening and compassionate listening. And the transmission of listening methods alone is enough for us to practice and succeed. Listening itself brings peace. It brings so much happiness, transforms suffering, and re-establishes love and brings happiness to the speaker. If you don't have time to write that thesis, who is it for? It's for yourself. To know that you've grasped the method for practice and to guide those whom you have a duty to guide, including your friends and students. If you can't write it out fully, then take notes. Note down the items, record your experiences, so that later, when you have the opportunity, you can do it. How have you practiced listening? How have you transformed your suffering? What have you received? What actions have you taken while listening? And how have you been able to relieve others' suffering when you sit and listen to them? Listening is related to speaking. And that's why today we must learn about speaking. Speaking and listening fall under the fourth precept of the 5 precepts. If we don't know how to listen, we also don't know how to speak. Learning and practicing right speech will not succeed if we don't know how to learn and practice right listening or deep listening. And right speech is one of the 8 elements of the Noble Eightfold Path. We have the term right speech, and we also have many other terms, such as non-lying or non-abusive speech, or speaking the truth, which is very good, like the truth. That is the reality, the essence of reality, like the flower, in the true essence of the flower. The truth is that it corresponds with the truth. The truth here is ayatha bhuta, the truth in itself, not our perception of the truth. For example, a palm leaf. A palm leaf in itself is the truth, its suchness. But our mind, our concept, our understanding of it is an idea. We have an idea, a perception about the palm leaf. But does that idea, that perception, correspond with the truth of the palm leaf, the ayatha bhuta of the palm leaf? That's the issue. Speaking the truth is speech that can express the essence of reality. Aswa is show and swa. Saktyayan used the term, which in Vietnamese is called law of self. Law of self is a philosophical term. But in Buddhism, a very good term is suchness, like speaking the truth. The highest art of speaking is to speak the truth, but that art is very difficult to achieve. Because when we speak, we have to use words and concepts that words and concepts can never fully express the essence of reality. Therefore, you have to be very skillful to achieve it. Right speech is not as simple as we think. We often think we're using right speech, but maybe we're using wrong speech. We think we're telling the truth. I didn't say anything wrong, I only spoke the truth. But when you speak that truth, if it's causing division and destruction, then your words aren't what we call right speech. Some things need to be said. But sometimes you have to wait 6 months before you can say them, because saying it before then could cause it to fall apart. It's dangerous. If you're a doctor, for example, you might see this, because when you discover that your patient has a certain condition, if you immediately reveal the truth, that person could die instantly of a heart attack. So the truth isn't always necessarily right speech. You could kill someone by telling the truth. So you have to find skillful means, artful ways to help the other person accept the truth without suffering. You have to choose your words carefully, choose the time, the place, and the way you say it. It's an art. Right speech is an art. For example, there's a nun who's just started practicing with a very sincere and faithful heart, and has just begun working in social work, loving orphan children, believing that social workers in the country are working wholeheartedly like the nuns. Then the monks here, for example, when we talk, we bring up an unpleasant situation. There's a place that takes care of children. They take care of few children, but they report that they take care of many. For example, they take care of 20 children, but they report that they take care of 40, so they can get more money from us. And who knows what they use that money for? And instead of just asking for sponsorship from one organization, that organization asks for sponsorship from 2 or 3 organizations. So there are only 20 children, but they get money for 80. There's cheating in the social work. That person is just telling the truth. But telling the truth to someone who's just starting out in social work, like, that can make them lose faith. It's like when a flower starts to bloom and there's frost, that flower will wither immediately. So even if the other person is reporting the truth, that still needs to be right speech. You have to wait for another time and talk to people who are able to accept that negativity. That's called right speech. When we repeat the words in the scriptures, we repeat them 100% exactly as they are in the scriptures. We don't add or subtract a single word. That doesn't necessarily mean it's right speech. The person listening to that passage might retreat, might doubt, and because of that, that passage might not be suitable for their capacity, their level, their state of mind. So even if we repeat 100% exactly the passage from the scriptures, our words are not right speech, but even wrong speech. For example, when we lecture about impermanence, we lecture in such a way that people become disillusioned with life and want to commit suicide. Then is our lecture right speech or not right speech? Is impermanence Buddhist teaching or not Buddhist teaching? Therefore, when we speak, we must know that what we say must be kalale and kakositri. Means it's in accordance with the teachings of Buddhism, the principles of Buddhism. And Ert Sao Chi means it's in accordance with the situation the mind, the state of mind, the circumstances. Therefore, right speech must be Lapai and Kam Sitri. If we're blamed for causing division and we stubbornly insist, I'm just telling the truth, that's all I'm doing, then we don't yet know what right speech is. We have to be responsible in our speech. And if we repeat the words of the sages, it doesn't necessarily mean that what we repeat is right speech. Right speech must be accompanied by intelligence and contemplation, meaning right speech must have right view. We learn this in the Buddhist Dharma course. Right speech must have right view. Without right view, it's not right speech. It's just a way of speaking. Right speech must also have right thought. We must think correctly so that our words are truly right. And if you look closely, you'll see that in right speech. There are 7 other elements of the Noble Eightfold Path. It has right mindfulness, right concentration, etc. And that's the principle of interbeing in Buddhist teachings. One Dharma enters into all Dharmas, and all Dharmas enter into one Dharma. That's a verse from the Avatamsaka Sutra. All Dharmas enter into one Dharma, and one Dharma enters into all Dharmas. That's the teaching of interbeing, which must be applied to oneself. When speaking, we must know if this is the right time to speak or not. Is this the right place for us to speak? These things fall within the scope of right view and right thought. Speaking is an art because it can bring great happiness to both the speaker and the listener. Speaking can build bridges of understanding, dispel doubts, and break down barriers. So we must also study and practice, experiment to achieve an art of speaking, self-awareness about speaking, the practice of speaking in Buddhism, the art of speaking, the practice of right speech in Buddhism. It's the content of a 300-page or 1,000-page volume. I don't know, but just speaking can bring a lot of happiness to those around us, to humanity. If we know how to speak with loving speech, with right speech, with truthful speech, sometimes silence is right speech. When someone asks a question and we rush to answer, that may not be right speech. When someone asks a question and we sit silently without answering, that can be right speech, because there are questions that should not be answered. And that silence is a thunderous silence. Just silence alone is eloquent enough to show the other person the truth, especially when the questions are intended to provoke discussions about metaphysics that are not helpful. Really? A meditation student asked, "Master, what did Bodhidharma come to this land for?" Or, "Master, what is the sound of one hand clapping?" Or, "Master, you say all dharmas return to one. So, what does the one return to?" Those are koans, Zen koans, and people tend to want to analyze and reason about those koans. Then the master could spend 1, 2, or 3 hours talking non-stop. Also, I feel so happy because I have the opportunity to share my knowledge, but all those words might not be right, maybe because they don't help the other person. So some masters sit in silence and smile, looking at the person with very thoughtful eyes, realizing they're caught up in trivial matters. Other masters say, go drink tea. Kui means go drink tea. Go tien ditu. This is a strong command, meaning, hey, master, don't talk nonsense. There's a cup of tea in front of you, but you don't drink it properly and ask nonsense questions. What did Bodhidharma do when he came to this place? He used just one hand. If there's an artist here, they could paint a picture with a cup of tea steaming, and next to it, the 3 words, drink tea. Those are the paintings that could hang in the Zen monastery. Drink tea means don't drag, don't lose your life in thoughts and metaphysical discussions. Live deeply in the present moment. So drink tea is right mindfulness, like right speech. If we analyze the words drink tea, do we see any Buddhist teachings in them? Where in drink tea we don't see no self, impermanence, the 4 Noble Truths, or the Eightfold Path, nothing at all. But actually a drink tea is right speech, because it brings the person back to reality and to live deeply in that moment. Zen masters have their own special language. They stop the flow of excessive thinking and delusions of the Zen students. And often they use very strange phrases, very, very strange sayings. Once upon a time, there was a Zen master in PILP. I forgot his name, but any name is fine, as long as he's a genuine Zen master. He lived on a mountain, and his reputation spread throughout the court and the surrounding areas. So the king had to go up to visit the Zen master. He asked, Master, how long have you been up here on this mountain? It's a very simple question. The master could have answered, I've been here for almost 20 years, 22 years, so many months and days. But the Zen master said, I only know about today. I don't have time to think about yesterday. I don't know how many years I've lived here. Thayen trai kim naptengayat, thesi si yu. Xunlu is the poem the master answered with, and then tri what? Kim nat, engoyat night, engoyat he nat yu, te se yuk sang tu, te te art. Now, I only know the sun and moon of today, or the days and months of this moment. Why worry about the springs that have passed? These 2 poetic lines just mean, drink tea, Your Majesty. You came all the way up here and ask such rambling questions. What does 20 or 22 years have to do with Your Majesty? It's not important at all. The point is that Your Majesty has come all the way up here, so let's have tea together. This is a great opportunity, and there's no great philosophy in it. It's just a sound. If it's the sound of a bell, then that's the true teaching. So we are the knowledge, those burdened by knowledge and doctrine. Can we fulfill our duty like the bell? Every time that bell rings, everyone must obey, must return to drink tea and breathe. That may be more meritorious than us, and we must pass the light to it first. Therefore, every time the bell rings, we bow to it. But In reality, it's compelling us. We all have inherited suffering and pain, passed down from grandparents and parents. It might not be suffering or pain we've accumulated in this lifetime, but suffering and pain accumulated in the past. And within us, there might be a deep-seated fire of frustration, sadness, anger, resentment from the past. So we must know that there's a volcano inside, and when it stirs, it starts erupting, spewing fire like a volcano. And when it erupts, it will burn. There are signs. When a volcano is about to erupt, there are symptoms. Those who know volcanoes, they know before it erupts, and they find ways to escape. We have volcanoes, and the people around us also have volcanoes. And whenever we have mindfulness, we know the volcano is about to erupt. We must worry about running to safety. It erupts with what we call unkind words. It makes the speaker suffer and creates suffering and devastation for those around. Therefore, we must learn to recognize the volcano in ourselves and in others, to love them. Because it's not just the other person who has a volcano, we also have a volcano. When the volcano is underneath and it erupts, it's devastating. Therefore, we must have a policy to be able to cope with our own volcano. There's frustration, there's oppression, and we feel like if we don't speak out, we'll die. Why? Because we don't know how to handle it. We don't know how to manage it, how to redirect our energy. So in Plum Village, there's a method called a silent mouth. Silent mouth means not speaking, not sealed mouth. Sealed mouth means you're holding it in until you die. Silent mouth means making the volcano's mouth not erupt. Even if there's fire inside, it won't erupt. And we find a way to return the fire to its original state, bringing peace to those around. And so, silent mouth is a practice. I know if I speak, I might say things that will cause her pain. So I practice silent mouth, so I don't speak. But silent mouth isn't about suppressing. If you suppress, a silent mouth becomes a very dangerous practice. It's no longer a silent mouth, because when it erupts even more dangerously. Therefore, while practicing silent mouth, you must practice observation. Observation means looking deeply. Looking deeply is what extinguishes the fire. Yesterday, I met that man, and he said something that made me furious. I felt like if I didn't say something back, I would die. But that guy said it and left immediately, not giving me a chance to retaliate. If I had retaliated, I would have suffered so much less. But I went home and suffered all afternoon. But I don't know why. I slept well, and when I woke up the next morning, I thought it was so funny. Why did I have to say anything? I clearly didn't say anything, and I didn't die. Now I find it very funny. That guy is funny, and I'm funny too. What he said was so pitiful, but I got upset and wanted to retaliate too. If he's in pain, I feel sorry for him and for myself. Just one good night's sleep is enough for me to see the truth. But in that moment, in that instant, I am lost in a frenzy. I do things that ruin everything. So I have to set up methods so that when I fall into that frenzy, I am protected. I must have an angel, a warning to protect me. I have to nurture that angel. I have to carry it with me. If I only call for help at that moment, the angel won't come easily. In daily life, you must know how to walk, how to breathe, how to smile, how to protect yourself. Then the angel will be there for you. And those are the times when I need the angel, the protector, the most. This is a method that the Master has given to 5 or 7 people in the audience. This method is easy. Every time I feel annoyed, itchy to speak, too angry to talk, I practice breathing, just breathing without speaking. But I go into my room, take out a notebook, and write down what I want to say. Instead of saying it with my mouth, I just breathe. Then I go and write that sentence down. For example, you are stupid, you are very cruel, you have malicious intentions to ruin everything, you are ungrateful. For example, write those sentences down. Write down the time, the minute, the second, what the person said that made you want to say this. Write it all down, and it will ease your suffering. Then, 3 days later, take it out and look at it and ask yourself, if I had said this at that moment, what would have happened? There would have been destruction. This practice isn't difficult at all. We ask our Master, our leader, please allow me to practice refraining from speech for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, we do just that, without suppressing anything, just not speaking and breathing. Then we go and write down the sentence, write down everything we want to say, and then we will clearly see the suffering in our lives and the suffering of others, which may be caused by us because we don't know how to speak, don't know how to practice right speech. And this is also true. If we know right speech, we know skillful speech, then we create happiness for countless people around us. In Vietnam, we say that words don't cost money, but they can create great happiness. Words can make the other person joyful, excited, and give them more energy. Words can resolve misunderstandings, anger, and pettiness in the other person. Why are we so rich and yet we don't use our wealth? That wealth is the ability to use right speech. It must have right view. And to have right view, we must have contemplation. We all know that. Everyone in the Sangha is asked to practice the method called breaking the triangle. This is a practice method of the Lamas. We must grasp that when B is angry at someone, has a knot with someone, A, because A said something or did something that hurt B. B heard that directly, B saw that directly, or B heard that through an intermediary, or knowing it through X, where B carries a group of people and B suffers. Restless, unable to eat or sleep well, unable to work, losing all affection. And within B, there's an urge that if I'm suffering like this, I must find someone to share the suffering with. Therefore, B goes to find C. C somewhere. Air. Where is C? Who is C? Usually, C is someone who doesn't have feelings for A. According to the definition, C is someone who doesn't have feelings for A. Because if C has feelings for A, then we wouldn't go to C. Because going to C would side with A. So when we're suffering, we never go looking for someone who isn't C. C by definition is someone who doesn't like A. We go to C to talk. And when we talk about our suffering, they'll say, that's right. That guy A is always like that. I've been angry many times too. Then the two sides talk back and forth to ease the suffering and nurture the seeds of hatred and resentment of both sides towards A. And a very dangerous triangle is formed. Then A walks by and sees C and B talking so intimately and feels good. Today, A sees B and C talking intimately and happily, not knowing that the two of them are talking about A, because A is very innocent. Sometimes A is completely innocent, without any intention of causing B any suffering, still yields. Usually, we are all A. We have unintentionally said things or done things that cause B suffering. We think we're loving B immensely. And therefore, we are both A and B. We must recognize A in ourselves and recognize B in ourselves. B and C sit and talk very intimately, happily, because they need each other to talk back and forth, to relieve. They form what is called an alliance against. At first, doesn't see it, but after a while, sees. Both of these people are looking at me with very different eyes. It becomes the target of the annoyance, the hatred of B and C, and if it continues like this, repeating it 2 or 3 times, then the triangle is formed, and it's like a thorn piercing the liver. Wherever the foot goes, that thorn pierces very painfully, causing aches and discomfort. And this triangle makes the entire community in the Sangha suffer. So whenever you see the shape of a triangle, the Abba must be aware that the leader of the community must be aware. The brothers must be aware. The sisters must be aware. The brothers must be aware to raise the alarm and together come together to resolve and break the triangle, help B and C break the triangle, and help A. Now, for example, if we are C, then we must practice like how? If we don't want to be C, but we want to be D, C is the role that creates the triangle. We don't want to be C, we want to be D, then we must practice how? We sit and listen to B. We know B is suffering. We say, if you have any suffering, just tell me. I'm ready to listen. And we listen, but we don't pour oil on the fire. We listen to ease the other person's suffering. That's called listening. After listening, we say, I feel so sorry for you, but I think the best way is to go straight to A to ask. We ask why I said that, why I did that. Does A know that B is suffering because of that? Let's go. Let's go straight. It's the shortest path. And if necessary, I will go with you D is willing to go with B to A in cases where it's difficult for B to go to A. We all have to practice to be D. D is a bodhisattva, a mediator, a person who practices mediation. Sister Ho Nengiem must also be D. Sister T Nengiem must also be D. Brother Phap, and must also be D. Brother Vo and Guy also. We must be the dam. Each of us must play the role of the dam. We listen to the other person with all compassion, then we embrace them and say, now, let's go together to break this triangle, so the triangle doesn't become a cage, and so that the misunderstanding dissolves. Maybe it's unintentional, maybe it's clumsy, maybe a mistake has been made. When A and B go together and use loving and truthful language, A will see their mistake, apologize, and promise not to do it again. And in most cases, we don't intentionally want to cause suffering, it's just because of clumsiness. Therefore, in our practice, we shouldn't speak in terms of good and evil. We must replace that language with right and wrong, or chai and ech righteous, and tadiyai evil. We often repeat this because we tend to categorize people into factions, good or evil, right or wrong, chitidua evil or chi and esa righteous. This kind of thinking is very dangerous. If you've read Tio Leng Do Jang, who has read it? Raise your hand if you've read it. Then you'll understand the philosophy of that epic novel within the Chayness righteous faction. There's always an element of T evil. And within the T evil faction, there's always an element of Chesi NNH righteous. Tireng Do Jiang Eso is a story about two friends who come together because of music. When they sit together and play music, one plays the flute, the other plays the zither. Their happiness is immense, unparalleled. That musical piece is called Tio Endu Jiang Eish Ba. The problem is one belongs to the so-called JNH's righteous faction, while other belongs to the so-called TCC evil faction. According to the principles, the JNH's righteous shouldn't associate with the TTU evil. Therefore, when they want to be together, they have to retreat to a remote, hidden place where no one can see them. Only after looking around to make sure no one is watching can they play music together. Because the world says that if the chi enates, right, associates with the T evil, they become Tita evil themselves. If one faction associates with another, if you're a communist and you associate with capitalists, it's not allowed. That's the tragedy of Vietnam. We are siblings from the same mother, yet we kill each other. We don't dare sit together and talk because I carry the label of anti-communist while you carry the label of communist. The story of Alan Hazang isn't just a story in a novel. It's a real life story of infighting. We see students from Hanoi studying in Australia, and then we see refugee students throwing tomatoes and rotten eggs, and those students are very pitiful because the two groups of young people are the same. They are brothers and sisters. If you're born into that kind of environment, you'll grow up to be like that. If you're born into an anti-communist family, you'll grow up to be anti-communist. If you're born into a communist family, you'll grow up to be communist, whether you like it or not. That's why it's important for siblings to open their eyes and recognize each other. The chi edge, righteous, and the evil are not the essence of ourselves. Because within the che, NH, righteous, there is ti evil. And within the ti evil, there is chedi and ets, righteous. That's the truth. That's called Tantenics. Therefore, we practice not thinking in terms of good and evil, right and wrong, or chesi and es, righteous, and ti se, evil. We do the opposite. We practice thinking about the key is whether you're skillful or not, whether you have a lot of artistry or little or lessful. This is a new dimension that the Master is introducing for you to practice. Practice a new perspective, because we don't want to cause pain to others, suffering. We truly don't want to cause suffering to others. Who among us here wants to make their fellow brothers, sisters, or students suffer? No one does. But because we're clumsy in our speech, laughter, and actions, we cause suffering. That's why cultivation is more of an art than a matter of correctness. If we ground ourselves in mindfulness, the quality of our art, because when we are mindful, we will be more skillful, definitely more mindful. We'll be more considerate and skillful. A mother raising her daughter would say, "Daughter, walk, stand, lie down, sit with consideration. Being considerate makes you beautiful." A lot. Consideration here is mindfulness. When we are considerate, we don't let our tea get cold. When we are considerate, our soup won't be too salty. Because consideration lets us know what we're doing and whether we're doing it right or not. And when we speak considerately, we don't make mistakes. We don't cause blunders, do foolish things, or cause suffering to others. So, all of us are A. We know that we don't intentionally cause suffering to B, but perhaps due to clumsiness, we've said or done something that caused B suffering. And we must acknowledge that, because who among us dares to claim to be the greatest artist? No, we are all still learning, including the Master. And day by day, we become more mindful and more skillful in order to not cause suffering to others. Cultivation is an art. That's the topic of the article I wrote when I was just 20 years old. Cultivation is an art. A cultivator is an artist. Therefore, I must be an artist to avoid clumsily causing suffering to B. And when B is in pain and comes to A to talk, I can say, "I'm sorry. I was clumsy. I didn't mean to cause you suffering. I apologize." That's a sentence we must memorize word for word, and we can say it any time we see someone suffering. And I have apologized to my students before. I apologize. We practice as A, we practice as B. Don't go looking for C, don't create a triangle. Because once there's one triangle, there will be a second triangle. Because C, after nurturing their seeds of anger through B, goes looking for S, then forms a relationship with NS, creating a second triangle. Then S does the same, having a triangle with R, and we enter a maze. We must not let our minds enter that maze. We must not let our new minds enter the maze. Our happiness is created by us. We must be skillful. We must sit together. We must decide on a strategy, a tactic, so that we can live happily. Because we are a refuge for countless people in the world. If we are not happy, it's a pity for them. Millions of people are trusting in us. We are obligated to be happy, and we have methods to practice happiness. Among them, listening and speaking are two methods that we can practice daily.